The White Council is a group of the most powerful people in all of Middle-earth, and I finally got all of them in Lego. This has been a goal of mine for so long, and now I finally get to share it with you. So strap in and let's go. Let us start with the most famous member of not just the White Council, but also of the Istari, Gandalf. Now, I know technically Gandalf the White is not a member of the White Council, but shh, we shall not speak of it. We'll look at this Gandalf first. It obviously depicts him in his grey form, and noticeably he's missing both his cape and his head. The figure originates from 2013's Wizard Battle, one of the best sub $15 sets ever in my opinion, and if you want to get this figure nowadays, it'll set you back about $6. So it's very affordable, which can be traced back to the low retail price of the set he's from and the missing of the previously mentioned extras. Those are not the only things missing though, since we're also devoid of any leg printing here. I would complain about it with most figures, but I really don't see it as overly necessary here. The figure looks more than fine without it, which is why we'll now immediately move up. As you can see, most of the torso is covered by his beard. We can make out some small details like the brown belt or strap going across his stomach, but even when we turn to the back for some more details, we're denied again by his luscious hair. So the torso's not giving us a lot, but his beard does look really good, even though it completely envelops his mouth. Since showing expression is a little more difficult like this, Lego gave him these really expressive eyebrows that help convey both his happy and angry face. The hair matches his look from the movie as well, and overall, it's just a decent figure for the scene it's based off. Gandalf the White is up next. I know we've got another Gandalf the Grey, but this one actually released a decade earlier. In 2013, this minifig came as part of the Battle at the Black Gate. In retrospect, that set had an insane minifigure collection, with more than half being worth quite a bit by now. Gandalf is no different in that, going for about $50 if you want to get him off the aftermarket. Again, we are missing any leg printing here, but as I've mentioned with his grey version before, he really doesn't need it. This time though, we do actually get a better look at his torso, but its best part is hidden by the beard again. Sure, the belt and such is nice, but look at what's below his beard. An amazing silver cloak clasp as well as more silver printing going down either side. I'd say it's a total disservice to cover all this up, but admittedly the hairpiece is great. You'll get to see another version of this piece in a minute, but that one actually has some printing on it, unlike this one, which just showcases Gandalf's glowing white hair. The face is the same as on the first, and overall this is just a huge step up from his other version and possibly one of my favorite figures ever. As the last of the Elronds, we have his most recent version. This one released just about 1.5 years ago in the best Lord of the Rings set of all time, Rivendell. Given the expensive nature of that set, it's reasonable to assume that this figure would go for quite a bit of money, but it's actually not that valuable, sitting at about $12 currently. This time we do actually have some leg printing, probably because we don't have proper legs here. The figure uses the somewhat new dress piece, which works well for Gandalf's look from the movies. Details like the belt or the little bag really pop out here, and all the wrinkles add a lot to the look of the minifig, especially because the beard almost fully covers the torso again. The cape is really odd, I gotta admit, since it's not one of the normal two-hold ones, but rather it only has a single one and gets smaller towards the top. In a similar vein, this figure also uses a new face. There's no alternative one this time, and it's just the weakest of the three. We're devoid of the strong brows, which leaves us missing a lot of the expressions that the other two were able to convey so flawlessly. At least though, we do get his pointy head here that makes his original silhouette from the movie so recognizable. Overall, a pretty good figure, but the face should be switched with its previous one if you really want the most out of this iconic character. I only have one of this next character, the greatest of the Istari, Saruman the White. This figure is one I hold near and dear to my heart just because I bought it when I was kinda getting back into Lord of the Rings. Originally it featured as part of the Wizard Battle, just like our first Gandalf, and nowadays you gotta put down like $35 if you also want to own this figure. There is a significantly more expensive version of this figure from the Tower of Orthanc using a skirt piece, and that one goes for about double the price of this. So I'm totally fine with not spending $70 and having this one instead. As with most figures so far, there's absolutely no leg printing here, and as I've said so many times before in this video, it also wasn't necessary. I'm going to be honest, I don't know why it doesn't bother me here, unlike with some other figures, but when I figure it out, I might actually make a video on it. The torso, even if covered by the beard in a lot of areas, shows us some wonderful details. There is silver down each side of it, as well as a larger area in the middle. The one button we can spot below his beard is incredibly detailed as well, and as much as I love Gandalf the White, this one just takes it a step further. As mentioned, the beard isn't fully white on Saruman, which not only differentiates him from the other white wizard, it's also more accurate to Christopher Lee's look from the movies. Speaking of Christopher Lee, this figure uses the same face as Count Dooku with the very expressive eyebrows to convey both his calm and angry demeanor. It's just such a great minifig that undoubtedly does justice to its movie counterpart. Up next is the least of the Istari, Radagast the Brown. For a character that isn't even supposed to be in any of the movies, I'm surprised by how much effort Lego put into this figure. Just like most of the figures so far, this minifig also released in 2013 as part of the Dol-Guldur Battle, a great set in my opinion. Even though he is regarded as the least of the wizards, he is the most expensive, sitting at a cool $80 nowadays. Now, I'm not even going to talk about the missing leg printing, but it is a little more annoying here since the torso is the most detailed so far. Admittedly, you can't see a lot of it, but it is very funky looking with all the dotted lines going crazy. But now we arrive at the beard, which is directly connected to his head. It is, hands down, an incredible piece. I love how the beard isn't as well kept, as you can see for example with a bit of bird shit next to his face. Speaking of the face, it's actually visible for once. Having this opening makes it so much easier to see not just his happy, but also angry alternative face. The head is, as mentioned, connected to his beard and matches Radagast's look from the Hobbit movies to a T, but the ones with keen eyes among you will have already noticed something. There's a piece missing. Up here you're supposed to insert a feather. Why is that not there, you might ask? For the same reason I was only able to afford this figure without it, because it costs $50. In no world am I paying that much for such a small piece, and let's be real here, this figure looks fantastic even without it. Galadriel, the Lady of Lorien, is our first elven character for today and the penultimate one overall. Just like with Radagast, this minifigure is also the only one Galadriel ever got, and it actually also came in a Hobbit set of Dol-Guldur, that being the Witch King Battle. I already mentioned it with the Wizard Battle earlier, but the Middle-earth themes have some of the best sub $15 sets ever. Nowadays, this minifig goes for about $40 on the aftermarket, which is quite a jump considering its original set's retail price. Unlike the last Gandalf we looked at, Galadriel does not utilize the newer, proper skirt piece, but rather just a normal slow piece as was common 10 years ago. I gotta say though, it doesn't bother me in the least, especially because the printing on it is so beautiful. The silver highlights depicting her gown don't just make the piece look amazing, but it also breaks up the otherwise matte, white, grey and black look. Also hugely beneficial in that undertaking is the hair going down all the way to her hips. In between it, we've got this wonderful dress piece as well as this bit of skin right here, which thankfully isn't distorted to look like way darker. Normally I'd move on to the face now, but I gotta give a shout out to her cape. It's beautiful and 100% matches her ethereal aura. If we're already back here though, we gotta admire the hair. It's not even blonde, it's literally gold, which totally fits her glowing hair in the movie. Fun fact, her hair actually glows like that because it collected some of the lights from the trees of Valinor. Fact check me if I'm wrong on that, please. I'm a big fan of the silver hairband around her forehead here as well, and I just gotta say, the face perfectly matches Cate Blanchett's from the movie. It's actually insane. The alternative face showing her crazy expression is also great, and overall, this is just a brilliant minifig to match her brilliant character in the movies. The last member of the White Council we've gotten from Lego is Elrond, Bearer of Vilya. He's got a handful of versions, but I only have the two I personally like the most. First, I have him in his battle armor. This is not the one from the War of the Last Alliance, but from the battle at Dol-Guldur. Just like Galadriel, this figure also came as part of the Witch King Battle in 2014, and man, that set had an insane minifig selection. If you want to get this figure right now, it's going to set you back about $19, which actually makes him like the second cheapest of all the Elronds. Starting at the legs, they've got some great printing that slowly transitions onto the torso. I personally love the mix of gold and olive green interlaced with a bit of brown. All the armor on his torso looks great, and the brighter details around his neck add some detail, elevating this figure even further. Now, parts of his torso are covered by his braids, just like Galadriel, since they actually use the same hairpiece. His hair color obviously isn't gold, but his hairband is. The face looks a little too wrinkly in my opinion. Hugo Weaving is an old man, but especially the eye bags take it a step too far. It's nothing devastating, but it has to be mentioned. His alternative, somewhat more satisfied face is decent too, and overall, this is just a figure befitting of its movie counterpart. Last but not least, we've got Elrond in his more regal outfit. This is actually the most recent iteration of him, only having been released about a year ago. It came as part of Rivendell, and if you want to get this figure but not pay $500, you can also get it for about $13 on the aftermarket. As a big step up from its 2013 counterpart, this Elrond uses the new skirt piece. It totally matches his long robes from the movie, and all the minor detailing on his undergarment is brilliant. Really, the only issue I have with it is this red line here, hindering the transition from skirt to torso being flawless. The torso itself is more than decent, even though these beautiful golden linings on the inside of his coat are covered up by his hair. Speaking of which, I actually quite like the new hairpiece. I do still have my issues with it on Legolas and Arwen, but Elrond is kinda rocking it. Obviously, the hairband is no longer a molded piece, but it actually works better for his movie portrayal since it does sit quite a bit below his hairline. Wait, is it still a herring then? Who knows. The face isn't as wrinkly, I guess, as the other one, and in my opinion is the best Hugo Weaving face of the bunch, although I gotta admit, his concerned face does look a little too comical. But overall, it's just a great figure from such a beautiful set as well, Rivendell. If you want to see me review that set, click on the video right here, and in case you just want more Lord of the Rings content, check out this playlist. Right now, I just enjoy talking about Middle-earth so much, but the next video around it will probably take until December, but look forward to it, cause it's gonna be a big one.